Good morning out there in podcast land. This is Texas Desert Rose here, broadcasting from Bahrain, the land of sand. And today I have a special treat for you. I'm very excited to say that I'm being joined by a very dear friend of about, James, would you say 7 or 8 years now?
That's about right, 2013, 14.
Wow. Yeah, we've got leverage, dude. We met on a what we call a military counseling gig out in Okinawa. So hello out there in Okinawa. James Jacob Seawel joins me because he's had a very interesting walk in life, and ultimately my goal on the show is to kind of showcase different cultures, different walks of life, in hopes that you can either feel validated, educated, maybe share the recordings and help someone else. Okay, so welcome, James. Thank you for joining me on this Friday morning here in Bahrain.
It's good to talk to you, Tammy T. Thanks for having me on.
So where are you coming from?
Well, I'm an Arkansas boy, but right now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard a little bit of a twang, not that I don't have one. So I'll tell you many reasons why I wanted to have you come on the show. There are so many topics that we have talked about, anywhere from, car maintenance. Haha, just joking. I don't think either one of us could talk about that.
Please no.
Spirituality, and a particular topic in the last few years. You have written 2 very prolific ones, articles, blogs, posts regarding your very interesting walk in life. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
For sure. I have the dubious distinction of being a gay Christian. And so many people say you have to choose. You can be one, but you can't be both.
Yeah, contradiction in terms, no?
That's what so many people in my culture of origin would have you to believe. But I've never loved Jesus Christ more since I came out to him and to myself.
Well, if you're open to it, and I don't want to step on any of your toes, the rest of the toes out there is just going to need to be stepped on. But you want to tell us a little bit more about what that's been like for you, and I know you're really adept at kind of sensing the perception of what it's been like for others around you as well.
Yeah, you have me kind of at the happy ending where I've got peace in my life and peace in my heart, and I'm in a good place. But if we had done this, we wouldn't have done this interview 5 years ago.
Neither one of us, actually.
Because for one, I was in the back of the closet, within the closet. Only the people who had reason to know, and those were very few, knew, and they were sworn to secrecy. So the walk it's been hell. It's been absolute hell from childhood.
I can't even imagine. I know you get this question a lot, but for our listeners out there, when did you suspect? When did you know?
I knew in kindergarten. I didn't have language for it, and I didn't know what all it would entail. I just knew that I was not like the other boys, and I knew that I was not like the girls. I was somewhere in between. Interesting.
And of course the therapist in me wonders if it didn't come more to your awareness during the psychosexual age 4 stage.
Yeah, of course I didn't have any of that language then, and there were zero gay role models. I'm sure there were gay people in my life, but they weren't talking about it, and they
not
were
in Arkansas. They weren't.
In rural Arkansas in the 80s, they were not, and you would hear whispered like so and so was, sissy boy or whatever the terminology was, and they got their white butts to a coast somewhere or a big city, and so there was no one to model my life after, and it had to be on the down low. It had to be quiet. because there was always, this can't be true. I'll outgrow this. This isn't real. All the other boys are going through this too. It's just code. We don't talk about it.
So you really didn't have to deal from the outside with Pray the Gay Away. Maybe internally, I'm sure internally you did.
Internally, for sure. And I knew I was different. I probably couldn't have defined any of the terms until probably middle school. And I thought, oh, this is a phase. This isn't me permanently. This isn't my life. This is what I'm going through right now. And I'm going to pray this away. Because there were no discussions. The only thing that you would hear was how sinful and how wrong it was when men had feelings for men or women for women or whatever. And so it's the nicest thing I ever heard anybody say about a gay person. The nicest thing was that they were confused, and it went downhill quick from there. Wow.
I can't imagine the turmoil and the cognitive dissonance and all the dissonance that was in your head, your heart. I'm totally assuming that your family was very involved with church. Do you want to say anything more about that, as far as you're comfortable, of course?
Sure. I love my family, have always loved my family, and yet felt like I didn't belong. And I don't say that to hurt them or to disparage them, but I knew that I was different. And not just with the gay thing, but just like, man, I look at this world a lot differently than they do. And so I am from a small town in Arkansas, conservative, rural, Christian, fundamentalist Christian.
Yes.
And so there were a lot of rules, a lot of black and white, a lot of thou shalt and thou shalt not. And so many of those, I could check that list off. I was such a good preacher's son, such a good PK, because I wasn't drinking, I wasn't smoking, I wasn't shoplifting. Like, I could check that list until it came to that one area, and I couldn't check it.
Well, it sounds to me like you spent a lifetime trying to check it.
I dedicated my life to overcoming homosexuality in the name of Jesus. And I know that sounds ridiculous if you are not from that culture. Because since I have come out, I've talked to people and they're like, why would you do that? Oh my God, like, why didn't you just come out? And like I work with kids now, I'll have 11-year-olds come out and their families celebrate them. I cannot fathom such in existence. Now, that's not everybody's story. Now, I also have worked with kids and teens and grown as adults who are struggling to come out. But we at least have some model now for there are some people and some cultures and some churches that will accept it. And if that existed, I didn't know about it until I was way grown and out of my hometown.
Wow. I'm remembering my own recently saw a kiddo in session, age 12, I think, and dealing with a plethora of anxiety, OCD in general, like if somebody came into his room, he wasn't home, somebody moved something on a desk, anything like that. He was so highly wired, would wear the same sweatshirts, 3 sweatshirts all the time because he was so anxious, and then he comes out with this huge story for him that he's actually homosexual and he needed to tell just one person. And the next thing I know, by next session, not that much longer, he came back and said, okay, told my parents, got their support. Now I don't really feel that anxious about life. Isn't that amazing?
That is such an abbreviated process, like, compared to my story.
Yes.
So many other people. My generation and older, my God, the people that are 10, 20, 30. I actually know a man who is in his 90s, and his story is just, it's just unbelievable. And it's a beautiful thing that the kid you just talked about, he had a couple of hard weeks, and there'll be more. But he just got to come out and got his parents' approval, bada bing, bada boom.
Done.
I could never have fathomed that world existed.
Well, and also, I guess he's kind of in a gay-friendly environment in school in general, which is amazing to me. So what also was really impressive to me is all the anxiety symptoms, when we're talking extreme, agoraphobic even, that were on their way to relief after he let go of this huge secret that's been on his shoulders. Did you experience anything like that?
I absolutely did. People have not believed it, and that's okay. But I had several medical and mental health symptoms, and when I came out, like I didn't have the bad headaches. I didn't have the chronic upset stomach. I wasn't moody and irritable. It just so much went away because I stepped in to my truth. Now, I had done that privately with individuals, and I had done that on some level with God, but there was this power of coming out, and there were people in my family and community like, why in the hell did you have to put that on Facebook? You could have dealt with that with us. And that's the medium we have. That's the format we have.
Oh, it's very powerful.
It was important for me once I reached that place to just come out with it to everyone, because it just, before coming out, it was like, who knows and who doesn't know, and what are they whispering about me, and what are they saying? Not to be narcissistic, the whole world isn't about me.
No, we're social beings, though.
Right, and everyone that we know they have a little file with your name on it, and it's either good or it's bad or it's somewhere in between. And I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I do. And I wanted to be in charge of the narrative. Like, you're not going to talk shit on me. I will just tell you, this is who I am. This is my situation. Some of you aren't going to like it, but I'm going to tell you the truth.
You did the 8 Mile on the stage, remember? Like, let me take me down first, then you got nothing.
Right.
I love that. That's beautiful. So you mentioned you're a PK, son of an Arkansas preacher man. Does it get more conservative than that?
In the 80s, in the fundamentalist church.
Oh.
I mean, so we laughed at, like, whatever happens in the nation is going to be the last. Arkansas, whatever trend it is, it'll be the last. It'll come to Arkansas last. Well, my words, we've been like, yeah, and then it's going to come up here after that.
Yeah. So the butt end, so to speak.
For sure.
Okay, so how far did this go? How long did you carry on, is it fair to say, this ruse of yourself?
Yeah, it's there was more of a ruse probably with my family and hometown and culture of origin. I did not tell a soul until I was at the end of undergraduate school, so at the end of college,
wow.
Which was interesting because after I came out, people would tell my friends, oh yeah, I knew that about him. Well, you might have suspected, like you might have noticed, like, oh, he's not like the other guy, but mofo, I didn't tell you because I never told a soul in my hometown or in my family. And so for people rewrite the script, it's like, oh yeah, all the kids knew it. Well, they very well may have suspected. I give people credit for having eyes and ears, but you didn't hear it from me because I kept that locked in my heart.
Well, maybe couldn't handle at the time you hearing you say it rather than who you were saying it to.
For sure. And once you come out, you're out. Yes. And you keep coming out, because I will still occasionally, like somebody, a distant relative or a friend from the past will pop up on Facebook, oh, what's going on? And it's like, oh, crap, they don't know. Here we go again. Like, what's their response going to be? What are they going to say? Like, are they going to be disappointed? Are they going to show it? And so on the one hand, once you come out, you're out forever. But then on the other hand, you keep coming out the rest of your life. You get a new job, and the people that discover that about you, oh, well, my brother's gay. And they try to immediately, you just never get to blend.
Yes, I know a gay person, so we're friends.
You're like, I love Will and Grace. I'm like, I've never seen it.
Will and Grace, oh my God. Hey, that's a good show, James.
One of these days.
Okay, so I love your vulnerability. Thank you so much, and I don't take it lightly, because I find myself, as we're talking, on the verge of tears, not out of pity at all, but the amazing power